Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. A couple of months ago, I told you that I was going to start sharing with you the various notebooks that we have either used at one point in our homeschool or that we are currently using. And I realized that I only ever got to do one of those so far when we did our notebooks that we use with our read-alouds. And I apologize for that. There have just been so many other things that I wanted to make videos for in the meantime. And I've also had to cut down on the number of times I've been recording each week just because I got a part-time job and things are a little bit hectic around here now. But anyway, I decided today that I am finally going to share with you how we do our interest-led notebooks, which are by far my kids' favorite notebooks that we use. Out of all of them, and if you've watched my videos before, you know that we have various types, but this is their favorite. So I'm just going to go over with you some tips on how to get started. I've had so many questions about how to do these, and I just want you to keep in mind that as I'm going over these things with you, that everybody's homeschool is different. You can have your own ideas. If you have your own method of doing things, then of course do them. These are just to give you little ideas to get you started. So with interest-led notebooks, what it basically is having your child keep a notebook of something that I always ask my kids, what do you want to become an expert about? It's something that they're interested in learning about. It's something that they really feel is going to keep their interest. And I don't think that you should really phrase it to them in a way that really makes it sound too schoolish, you know, to say something like, so what topic do you want to study today or this week or this month? What I usually just say to my kids is, as I said earlier, what do you want to know more about? And then I tell them, I want you to make this little notebook like your own field guide to the topic that you choose. And that's really how we get started with the whole thing. I just ask them to make a list of different things that they are really, really interested in. And then I eventually will ask them to narrow it down to just one topic. And I tell them just put the other ideas aside, because you don't have to keep doing the same topic the whole time that you're doing the interest-led notebooks. You know, you can change it after a while if you so choose. So, you know, if they choose not to do a specific topic, it's okay. You know, I don't want them to feel like they're missing out if there are a few that they're really interested in. So just let them know, no, there's plenty of time. So after they've chosen that one topic, what you want to do then is you want to help them gather up as many materials as possible to help them, as I said earlier, to become experts on the topic. Now, the first place that we usually head to is the library. That is just our favorite place to go when it comes to this. And we will just take out as many books as possible on a specific subject for the kids to use. And sometimes we might even have, say, 20 books out on one topic. But I want you to remember that just because your child has taken out all of those books, it's okay if they don't use all of them. They're there to spark their interest. But really, when it comes down to it, just lay them out for your child. When it comes time to do their interest-led notebooking, I would just lay them out in a pile on the table, and I would just let them choose which one they want to use. Because again, they're not going to use each and every book that they get out. It's just easier once they get home to page through them and see which ones spark their interest the most. So another idea that you can use for helping your kids to gather information on this topic that they choose is through websites. There have been a few times that we were not able to make it to the library when my child wanted to start a new animal, because yeah, I'm going to be talking about the animal notebooks again. So if you have watched my channel before, you've probably heard of these, but don't worry, because I'll be talking about my older daughter's fairy notebooks today too. But anyway, so there have been times that my kids have decided to start learning about a different animal, and we didn't have time to get to the library to get new books out for them. So in those cases, what my kids have done is just to use websites. I will let them go on their phones, or sometimes my phone or a tablet, just to gather information. Sometimes they will watch videos. It might be on the TV, or they might watch videos again on the phone. But it doesn't really matter how your child gathers the information, whichever way they're most comfortable with and you are most comfortable with. So that's the second step. So remember, step one is having your kids choose a topic. Step two is helping them to gather information for this. So step 3 is actually getting the supplies that you need to get this started. Now, my favorite way of keeping these together is with, this is really used, as you can see, but just a 3-ring binder. Now, we've gotten these 3-ring binders at Dollar Tree simply because we go through so many of them because of the number of kids that I'm homeschooling and because of the number of notebooks that they have. So we do usually get our 3-ring binders at the Dollar Tree. And I'm sure if we would spend a little more money on them, they would probably hold up better than these do. But they serve their purpose. And I know that there are different ways that you can keep your notebooks. Some people like to use composition books, which we do sometimes. Some people just like to use spiral notebooks. I know other people actually get their spiral bound, and it is really entirely up to you. The reason that we choose binders for our interest-led notebooks is because I find that they're actually easier to keep different kinds of information in than, say, a spiral notebook. Because one thing that I do tell my children when it comes to collecting things or making things for this notebook is that it does not have to just be a typical page. At one point, my kids made a mask for the animal that they were studying. I'm going to see if I can find my daughter's. Okay, yeah, so she was doing mythical animals. She did a unicorn, and that's the unicorn mask. And as you can see, with the sheet protectors, which we also do use sheet protectors because it helps to keep the pages from tearing or getting dog-eared. But on top of that, it gives you a way to keep all of the other things that aren't your normal, just, you know, letter-size papers in the notebook. Yeah, another thing that they've actually done is, I don't see it in here, but my kids have done brochures, which I'll get to that idea, or to giving you different ideas in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, so we use the spiral, or not the spiral, the 3-ring binders, and then we use the sheet protectors. Now after that, if your kids are crafty kids, if your kids are not crafty kids, you can skip this part. But if your kids are really hands-on and like to do all sorts of crafts and those sorts of things, stock up on art supplies for them to decorate their notebook with. And my kids had such a good time when they were decorating these books. So and you know, again, you can just get these things at the dollar store. We got glitter and we got stickers. I tried to find stickers that had to do with the topics that they chose. Sometimes it's not that easy. For example, my daughter, when she did her fairy notebook, we really couldn't find any stickers at the time that were fairy, so we just got some flowers. But just gather up a bunch of fun stickers for your kids to decorate with. And as you can see here, we even just got some glittery foam stickers for the kids to use. We got washi tape, the generic brand washi tape at the dollar store, of course. And anything that you think that your kids would like to decorate their notebooks with. We also even got cardstock, because sometimes the kids will cut things out of cardstock, or they might choose to make their own notebooking page, maybe by cutting out a rectangle from a piece of white paper and gluing it to, say, a piece of yellow cardstock to make it, you know, really stand out. We've also gotten decorative cardstock, you know, that has the nice backgrounds, just not the solid colors. But those are just some ideas. But I really highly recommend this to you, that if your kids like to do this sort of thing, keep a basket or a tote. We have a little cabinet of art supplies. You can hear my cat in the background with her little jingle collar that my oldest daughter was so gracious to buy for her. So try sleeping with that cat running around. Anyway, so, oh yeah, and we also got googly eyes and buttons too. But again, so what I usually do, and what I found, is that my kids, they really do know where I keep all of these supplies at, but I found that they are more likely to use the supplies if, while they are doing their notebooking, that I actually pull them out and lay them out on the table right by them. Because oftentimes they get so involved in doing things that they just forget about it and don't take the time to go to the art cabinet or to go to the tote or wherever we happen to have the supplies at the time. So that's just another tip that I have, is that if they're going to have these little crafty items to decorate with, have them right next to your kids while they are doing their notebooks, and they are more likely to use them. So now you've gotten the topic chosen, you have information for your kids, you have the supplies that you need. Oh, I forgot to say about supplies. I get my notebooking pages, I'm so frugal. Notebookingpages.com has over 600 notebooking pages that you can get free if you sign up for a free membership. And they also have lots of other freebies on there too. And there is a paid membership that I would like to get someday. But thrifty homeschool mom that I am, so far I have not had to do that yet because I've been able to find what I needed for free. I also like to get my notebooking pages from the Notebooking Fairy because, again, they're free and they're always really nice. So I'm just showing you some examples of some of these free notebooking pages that I've gotten. And as you can see, they've got the stickers on, and I like to tell my kids to add some color to their notebook because these are really going to be keepsakes when they're older. As you can see, this one here, she was decorating it. And a lot of times when kids are in school, if they doodle on their paper, their teacher will say to them, don't draw on your schoolwork. And my motto when it comes to notebooking is, by all means, draw on your schoolwork, because we want our kids to be creative, because that is really the way that you're going to get them to enjoy what they're doing. And that's what the whole thing of this is. You want them to enjoy writing, because I can't get this binder open. So what I found with my kids before we started notebooking, whenever I would tell them that it was time to do a writing assignment, whether it would be, just leave it like that for now, whether it would be a composition or an essay of some sort, a report, anything like that, my kids would cry. They would actually sit and cry when it came time to do any sort of writing because they felt so completely overwhelmed. And that's not how I want my kids to feel about learning. So notebooking has become a godsend because it's spontaneous. Parts of it are spontaneous. If you are going to do it the way that I am telling you today, it can be spontaneous. There will be a list of ideas that I'm going to link at the bottom for you to get ideas on different ways that your kids can notebook. And we're going to talk about a few of those today. But it really helps them to take the pressure off of telling them specifically what it is that they have to do. And yes, the time will come that your children, especially if they are headed off to college, yes, of course, they are going to need to know how to do the 5-paragraph essay, and they are going to know how to do MLA and APA formatting and all of that. But notebooking is a wonderful gateway to get kids who both do and don't like to write to start writing more and to enjoy it, to be comfortable with the process. And then when it does come time to do those stricter things, they've had enough experience under their belt with writing that it really isn't such a hard transition for them anymore. So I was talking about notebooking pages. I keep going off track. I do want to point out that some kids prefer not to use notebooking pages, and that would be my daughter. As you can see, she just likes plain notebook paper. I give her stickers, and she does the stickers and the glitter on the outside of her binders, but she really prefers to just do everything on plain notebook paper. Now sometimes she will get colorful. Here she did a little poem in different colored ink, but it's really up to your kids. It's up to you, whatever you feel you would like to incorporate into their notebooks. Just keep that in mind. You want to let your kids make their notebooks actually their own. Let them put a piece of themselves into it. And whether it would be, really getting into decorating it, or whether it would just be kind of the more subdued, just plain lined notebook paper, whatever. As long as they're writing, as long as they're enjoying themselves, it's fine. So now we're gonna get down to different ways for them to notebook, and that is really the biggest things that people ask me about. So first of all, I told you about having all this information for them. What I usually have my kids do when they're doing their interest-led notebooks, I do not tell them what they have to notebook about that day. I do not give them any sort of format that I want them to use. I have the list that I talked about earlier, so I'll give them a few suggestions for if they're kind of drawing a blank about what they want to do that day. But when it comes down to it, the kids will look through the book. They will find something that really sparks their interest in the book, and they will come up with a way to get that on paper into their notebook to transfer the information that they've learned into their notebook. And that can actually happen several ways. Sometimes they might just do a little summary of what they read, which is what my daughter did here. She just did a little summary. Sometimes they might decide to draw a picture and maybe label body parts. Other times they might do just an illustration. And with my older kids, I usually do not let them do just illustrations. Notebooking to me is more about writing when it comes to a certain age. But sometimes I do let them do just illustrations, and when they do that, I told them though, they have to draw something in a way that shows me that they've actually learned something that day about their topic. So they can't just draw, for example, a horse, just standing there in a field. They would want to maybe illustrate what horses eat, or maybe what the different body parts are, or they could label things like the saddle and the bridle. Anything like that, that just shows that they learned something new that day, and they're just passing that information to me through a drawing for the day. But again, for my older kids, and when I say older, I mean like from 9 and up, I really prefer that they do some writing. And this writing can even take the form of comics, like this one. And again, as with the illustration, the comics can be cute, they can be funny, but they have to pass information that the kids have learned that day. Oh, also, fictional writing. They could write a story. See here, my daughter wrote a ferret story. So they can write fictional stories, again, incorporating information that they've learned from the day, from that day, into whatever story they decided to write about. Here we have pet facts. So she just wrote a list of facts. My older daughter, now I know that a lot of you have probably seen these animal notebooks quite a bit. And the reason that I show these animal notebooks all the time is because besides them being their favorite notebooks, and honestly my favorite to look at, because they put so much more time into these because they choose to. Sometimes they even notebook when we're not even doing school, just because they have so much fun with it. But another reason that I actually show this one all the time is because I have asked my kids multiple times, would you like to choose a new topic to notebook about for these notebooks? Maybe you don't want to do animals anymore, and then I'll give them different ideas. You could do weather, like tornadoes and hurricanes, or you could write about a different country, and I will try to give them a list of ideas to see if they want to. But as of right now, all of my middles, at least, have wanted to stick completely with the animal notebooks, which is why I keep pulling this one out, because we just keep building upon it over time. And yeah, we're definitely going to have to move on to a bigger 3-ring binder though, because this one is not going to cut it much longer. Now with my older daughter, my 16-year-old, she has her own ideas on things that she wants to notebook about. Like here she did types of fairies and where they live and random facts about them. I know that she has done recipes. Here she wrote down how to make a menahuna, I don't know if I said that right, nose flute. So she writes instructions for crafts that she wants to do. She's written, as I said earlier, recipes in here. She writes down uses for flowers as it relates to the fairies books that she's been reading. And let's see, she has, as copywork, done poems. Trying to find them. Oh, here she is, the different races of fairies. And so some of you might be wondering, how would you apply that to a high schooler learning about fairies? This is folklore. This is an elective, and there are actually a lot of folklore classes that you can take in college, and this is something that's interesting her. It's something that she's going to remember because it's something that she is voluntarily doing, and she is one of my kids that you will find her notebooking just in her spare time. We had a short week last week because we had some stuff going on, and my daughter said to me today, "Hey Mom, are we doing school today?" And I said, "Well, no, we're not going to be doing school today because we have this, and this that's going on." And she said to me, "I miss notebooking." And how many kids say that stuff about their schoolwork? So I said to her, "You don't have to wait for school to notebook. You can do it anytime." And you know what? That's just what she's been doing. So for example, today was my second youngest daughter's birthday. She turned 7 today. So we always take a day off on birthdays. So we did not have school today, and my 16-year-old daughter, she came down and she asked me if we had any binders that weren't being used. And I said, "Yes, we do. Why do you need another one?" She said, "Because I have a new topic that I want to start notebooking about." So here we are. You know, she's got no actual schoolwork assigned today because we took the day off for my 10th child's birthday today, and she's still notebooking on her own. And this is exactly what I wanted to happen when we started notebooking. I wanted the kids to have a passion for writing. I wanted them to actually have a way to get across information that they've learned without feeling like it's contrived. Because a lot of times, even when kids are doing things that they're interested in school, when the teachers, or not just teachers, but when anyone assigning the stuff, when it's too strict, when there are too many guidelines about what needs to be done, they tend to feel a little bit suffocated. And I want to give my kids that freedom to learn, to enjoy doing this without just feeling like it really isn't their own. And one thing that I do tell my kids with these notebooks is, I don't want you to write your notebooking pages for me. I want you to write them for you. I want you to write down things that you want to remember. I want you to keep a notebook that you are going to enjoy looking back through over time. And so far, it really seems to be working. So yeah, there's no more crying when it comes to writing anymore. Now I just tell the kids, "All right, guys, you got to pull out your animal notebooks. It's time to do animal notebooking." Zoop! They just go right out and start doing it. Not a single complaint. It's lovely. It's wonderful. I cannot tell you enough how much you really, really, really need to try giving your kids a chance to do some interest-led notebooking. I hope that I have covered everything today. If you have any questions, just leave one in the comment section. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I can't get back to you right away a lot of times with me working, especially now, but I will get back to you at some point. If you have any other tips for doing this sort of notebooking, I would love if you would share it with us. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love if you would do that. And I hope you have a great day.